Harris. Bev Harris, of course, wrote the book, Black Box Voting, Ballot Tampering in the 21st Century. A Spanish company counting American votes for the November election. Is this true?
Well, it's a tad more complex, but not much. It's not yet, but it plans to. It's not yet counting the votes, but it's receiving the results, and it's announcing the results before the results get announced anywhere else. So what that does is it should transfer all attention to the chain of custody. Just as if it was the Academy Awards and they were passing this envelope. It's like, well, did anyone open the envelope? And whose hands did the envelopes go into? And are those the real results coming out of the envelope? So what's happening this November is this company is going to be producing the results or announcing the results exclusively for now not just 900 locations in the U.S., but about 1,200.
It's growing?
Context, yes. And to put that in context, there's about 3,000 locations total. So it will be approaching half of all the locations in the U.S., including some of the very large locations.
Absolutely bizarre. Now, is there a possibility of vote tampering because of this?
Wait, here's how it works. The votes go into these electronic voting machines, which are counted by computer. That's a problem in and of itself.
Right, and we've talked about that. That's right.
Right. But that's not the Spanish company yet. They plan to be the company in the next election that handles both sides of the equation. But so the votes go into the electronic voting machine, and then instead of being published locally, they go to Tampa, Florida, to a subsidiary owned by a company in Spain. And so what you'll see, let's suppose you live in Contra Costa County, California, and you go to the Contra Costa County website to see what your results are in your election. That website, while it looks like it's Contra Costa County, is actually in Tampa, and it's owned by this company in Spain now. And it's hosted, it never even, bottom line is the results come out of the voting machines, go straight to Tampa electronically, and the websites on which you see the results are actually coming out of Tampa, not coming out of your county. So absolutely, they are a middleman in the process. And whatever they say, the first numbers out of the gate are coming from this outfit in Tampa owned by this outfit in Spain.
Now, the Internet is reporting, and it's the Internet, and that's why I want to ask you to qualify this, that Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros might be involved in this Spanish company, might have an ownership position. Do we know anything about that?
Yeah, that's one of the... no, it doesn't... There's nothing that substantiates that. And here's what concerns me about this. I actually broke the story about the significance of this Spanish company and exactly what it has in mind. Very shortly afterward, I started seeing derivatives of the story that were actually incorrect, like Obama owns the company, or an Obama supporter owns the company, or George Soros owns the company. Then the next thing that happens was Snopes.com, which debunks Internet stories that are incorrect, starts saying, well, this story about the Spanish company is incorrect. Well, yes, because it started being put all over the place in a format that was where the facts were incorrect. But what that did, then anytime it went to a major news network or to a legislator and people would be concerned about it, they would go, oh, well, it's been debunked. Well, no, it actually hasn't been debunked. This company is smack dab in the middle, and the only thing that's actually been debunked is who owns it. And I'm sure you'll take comfort from this. We actually don't know who owns it.
Oh, great. I do. I'm so comfortable with that now, Bev. Thank you. So what we do know for sure is that a Tampa-based corporation that was doing some of the vote processing has been purchased by a Spanish company, right?
And has expanded, correct.
And has expanded
into doing about half of the reporting of the votes in the United States. And also the actual counting itself of the overseas and military votes.
And the Spanish company is owned by people we have no idea who.
Right, it's private.
Private company. So we have no idea who it is. Unbelievable.
Yes, it could be anybody.
Now,
and this is not just a problem in America. This is a global situation. This same company is doing exactly the same thing in many, many other countries. So this is not something that Republicans are trying to do something to the Democrats.
Right, or vice versa.
This is global.
Well, now, let me ask you this. What would happen, and you tell me if this is even conceivable, if somebody in this company, owners that we have no idea who they are, says, I want candidate A over candidate B to become the president of the United States, and we are counting the votes for 26 states, and you say that's growing now, so it's probably higher now. We're counting the votes for that, and I'm going to ensure that the candidate I like will win this election. Whether he wins it, right or wrong, I'm going to make sure he wins it. Is that conceivable? Can they do that?
They could do that, although because they don't control the actual machines yet, although they intend to, it could be caught. It would take some work, but it could be caught in the following way. And this is actually what I recommend doing right now. You can go on election night, and any citizen can go and take pictures of the actual, they look like a cash register tape that comes out of each voting machine, which contains the results from that voting machine. Nobody ever does, and nobody ever compares that with what they announce. And guess what? When you do compare it, it sometimes doesn't match at all.
We need a major accounting firm to do some reconciliation here.
Yes, and actually, I think one of the best safeguards is for them to know that various random people in places they have no idea where, just randomly, and on their own initiative, are going around taking pictures of those tapes. Because that would make it very risky indeed. All they need to do is get caught once or twice, and it would all be over.
And Bev, we've talked over the years about the black box voting and the problems that have been created with that. This is now another element that I didn't anticipate a few years ago.
Right. There's a couple new elements. And, of course, what this company wants to do is to take us to Internet voting and control the Internet voting. And at that point, it's game over because they will control every phase of the input and output. And it's completely privatized, and we won't be able to see anything.
Well, and we saw what happened today when hackers attacked GoDaddy. They shut down so many of their websites. What would happen if on election day, hackers did the same thing?
Yes, but, that's also something that's what I would like your listeners to understand is it's the insider that's the bigger risk than the hacker. The hacker can demonstrate that it's a problem, but you see, you cannot secure this system from its own administration. And so the real risk in election fraud is now and has always been the person with inside access. And what this company is doing is centralizing the level of control over elections with insiders to an unprecedented degree. It's a structural problem that is extremely dangerous. And literally, when this happens, what they've done is they've put themselves in position so that the government can choose itself.
Well,
and it is
you're
no
right.
longer at that point a democratic system at all.
Well, and let's point out that this Spanish company could be impeccably clean. But you know what? Who knows?
And who knows who these technicians, do you know that these companies sometimes, I mean, I see advertisements on online job recruitment sites, we need a guy to come in and run our server. I mean, we don't, it's
oh my gosh.
Well, we have to just simplify. We have to not get into a bunch of cryptography and gobbledygook. It is a structural problem when you put one or a few people in charge of the votes of the free world.
We are 2 months to our presidential election. Is Congress going to step in and say something about this story that you've been writing about, that we're talking about tonight?
No, and actually, the structure of the U.S., and I actually do agree with this, each state controls the elections, not the federal government. And so the federal government can't do a lot about it. And the states, they're just not going to. They're actually joining the march.
Do we know if the states with the highest electoral votes are part of the Spanish system now?
Oh, yes, they are. Yes.
They are.
Florida, California, yeah. It's big, large metro areas. In Florida, it's the big areas: Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade, Sarasota. It's the big ones. Can
we get to this Spanish company over the next month to find out who owns it, or will they never tell us?
Well, it wouldn't matter because, the guy who runs the server on that particular night